Continuing with our week of interesting experiences, we have another one on the go again today. So Carrie is here, but she's backstage trying to wrangle our other guest. But I can tell you that no matter how this show works out today, I'm so satisfied. We have Sister Ann Flanagan. She's a wonderful person. I'm going to be so excited no matter what happens today, because that's what we got. But believe in me, Carrie is on the case. She is working on the things. It's just going to be a whole different kind of show today. So, before I try to interrupt Carrie, because I have to interrupt myself, I want to talk to you a little bit about what's going on over here. So first off, I'm Chris Brogan. Thank you for being part of the Backpack Show. And what we do here is the whole goal is to give you tools and ideas and inspirations for business success, life success, and whatever comes with it. So John Harrison's here. John, sorry we had to miss you for part of the day. By the way, I don't know if we told you this, but Brent is coming back tomorrow. So we're going to have a double cause here. Frank's joining us from over on Twitter, which is also where Sister Ann and I agree is the best of the social networks. Coach Scott Woodard up in Maine. Coach Scott Woodard always wants to know your origin story. So don't be wrong about that, Sister Ann. We're going to need an origin story. And you know what? I feel so bad that Carrie can't be up front with me right now. Backpack Show. Heavy metal music and a nun. This is the pinnacle of my business right here. This is where we get going. So my dad's joining us from Vegas. There's Carol. Hi, Carol. There is my mom. So my family is all here, sister. Got a little brother that's not, but that's all we got. Now, listen, I want to bring you on. Carol points out, so I have a habit of interrupting Carrie at the beginning of the show, but I had to interrupt myself because Carrie's busy dealing with something. So tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring on Sister Ann Flanagan, and we're going to just dive in because my other guest is having fascinating difficulties. Heavenly metal, says John. I like that. Heavenly metal. Sister Ann, we already fixed all of the things that could have been wrong and broken on your side of the house.
Oh my goodness. Not all of them.
Working on the roof.
They're still working on the roof, yeah.
You've been in, I want to start kind of in media res, and then we can go back a little. But you make media of all different kinds. And so it's funny / sad that it still happens to you the same way it happens to regular mortals, that when you want to go and hit record, that's when someone starts hammering on a roof somewhere.
Oh my goodness. We thought, I heard yesterday, the superior came to the microphone at lunchtime and said, just so everybody knows, there's going to be testing of the fire alarm system tomorrow morning. I was like, excuse me, we have something scheduled. So all day I was trying to track down, because the sister in charge of maintenance here, and we had a huge plant because this is a publishing house. I live in a publishing house, and the sister in charge of maintenance is on retreat. So who's taking her place? Who's going to be shepherding these fire alarm testing people around? And can they please schedule this building before or after this show, because this is live and this is pre-scheduled. And it's like 9:05 last night. I got a text from the last person I had texted, and she's like, try Sister Linda. And well, Sister Linda was already retired for the night. So 5:30 this morning, I texted Sister Linda, and we took care of the fire alarm. And then she came to me at breakfast and said, what about the roofers? So they're there now. And then I thought, well, that's fine. The studio at least is set up, we have a little studio in our offices. And then the internet for the whole publishing house went down.
How lucky can we be, and still smiling? So my dad says, good morning, Sister Ann. Jack Vincent says, hi, Jack. Everyone. Jack's over in Europe. So you are clearly doing things a different way than 1970s era Catholic experiences. You don't, it's not just Excuse me. It's not just a little missive printed up. It's not just a 4-page flyer. It's not just the homily. You're making media, you're publishing, and you're going out into many other technologies. What was the drive behind it, and where did you start that journey to make all this new media happen?
For me personally, or
Well,
for
you personally, but also the organization. Maybe you came late to it. I don't know.
I came kind of in the middle of the history of the organization. The Daughters of St. Paul were actually founded in rural northern Italy in Alba, so it's better known for truffles. Uh,
Mm.
yeah, truffles. I'm kind of a foodie, so I really like this. We were founded in northern Italy in 1915 to use media to spread the gospel. So this really young Italian priest, kind of prophetic vision. There's only the only media around is print and movies. Movies had just been invented like 10, 15, 20 years before. And he's like, this is going to be the century for new forms of communication, and the church has to use that to spread the word of God. And so he gets idealistic young men and women together and says, dedicate your lives to this. And they did. So in 1918, the first pandemic, actually one of our very first sisters, they weren't even nuns yet, she died in the pandemic. She was the only sister who knew how to run a printing press, and she's the one who died. So we've been facing these kind of technical difficulties from, various forms for our entire history. I came along, you mentioned the 70s. I came along in the 70s, and my desire as a teenager was, boy, I want to do something to help the church get the word of God out there, to use the media in a way that's not lame. Maybe I wouldn't have said it that way in the 70s, but I went with my mom to a bookstore run by nuns because she wanted to get a birthday gift for the little girl across the street. And she said, I'm going to the nuns bookstore. Do you want to come with me? And I didn't know anything about the nuns bookstore, but I love books. And I get to the bookstore, and it's like, Disneyland for nuns. It's like, books of saints and prayer books and theology books and Bible books. And I'm stacking up the books. And the nuns are looking at me, a teenager stacking up Catholic books. And the sister at the counter said, it's our mission to serve the church with the media. And I was like, you got me. This is all I want to do. And I could get Jesus and media, and it could be one life, a packaged life. And it's like, I'm in. That's exactly what I was looking for. And so, yeah, that was my deepest desire, was to have this unity of a life that was fully ordered to God, and also fully immersed in the world of media. And he was like, here you go. I have that all ready for you. I was amazed. I was like, other people want that? Other people are thinking like this? And they had been thinking about it for 50 years. And, and when I entered at the time, it was only books. And I was like, when are we going to get to the media part? But finally that caught up, and I've been able to be part of that.
Wow. I'm still stuck on the incredible phrase "packaged life." Oh, Carrie, I forget you. I'm not going to touch any more of your buttons.
It's too late now. You've touched them.
People are all super excited.
I wanted to ask about your love of music, sister. I'm sorry if I missed it. I was backstage doing some tech stuff. But your love of music, when did you discover that, and how did that become part of the package deal?
When I was a little kid, actually, my mom said when we'd be in church, people would turn around because there'd be this little 8-year-old, singing, Holy God, we praise thy name. People go, where is that sound coming out of? And so I've always just loved to sing and express myself just vibrantly with music. And when I went to college, my majors were communications and music. And then entering the Daughters of St. Paul, when we started our music studio, which is right below me, it was kind of a natural fit.
So the Daughters have like a media empire.
A little bitty one, because it's just us. Especially since the pandemic, we're really we're doing almost everything now. We have a handful of employees left, and just on our little treadmill, trying to keep it all together.
We found
Well, I
a
wanna
video of the sisters singing at Fenway Park 5 years ago, and now
I
I'm thinking
remember that. That was fun.
it must be really difficult not to be able to do these things.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
oh, wow.
Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans wide before. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
And there's absolutely no heckling. That's so unusual for Boston.
Bless America, my home, sweet
All right, if you're not clapping right now at your desk somewhere, I'm gonna disown you because that was the thing. That was beautiful. It's the one criticism I have of that particular video clip is how they just hung on that one very unenthused player for just such a duration.
Funny, huh?
Everybody here is very enthused. Kara from Scotland is saying how much she loves it. Jack loves harmony. Jack Vincent.
Yeah.
Kara was also in a choir and she hasn't been able to gather up with it, so it's
Yeah.
a tough feeling.
So what's that going to be like this season, sister? You can't do the Christmas tour and all of
I
that.
know it's really very disappointing. We're trying to cook up a virtual Christmas concert this year. We had our Zoom meeting last week. Getting together, brainstorming. We have some songs that we like to feature. We're trying to plan. Okay, how are we going to record these in our respective locations? The various sisters who are in the choir. We're in different parts of the country. There's about half of us are here in the Jamaica Plain Publishing House, Mother House community, but the other sisters are in New Orleans, Chicago, Los Angeles. So how are we going to record these in a visually, pleasing and acoustically appropriate way? And then how are we going to do the video edits and get that out there?
So maybe some people will help. If anybody's willing to help, reach out to Sister Ann on Twitter.
We're working on it, because just to the Christmas concert tour, we've been doing this in some way or other for 26 years. And the last several years, we've gone coast to coast and been able to just meet people. It's nothing like it to be able to speak with the people who've been listening to your voices over the years, encounter them, in some places, you're meeting people for whom your voice has been a lifeline. And, there is something just so gripping about that when the person is looking at you like you have meant so much in their family, in their own personal life. And you suddenly realize like God's really working in you. And you've just been in the studio enjoying yourself, making this recording. I mean, we're praying for the people, but when you actually meet the people and you see God is saying, yeah, I heard your prayer, and look, here they are. That's what we're going to miss the most.
People are getting chills.
Oh yeah, but those people, I tell you.
And they love the song.
Right.
Someone on Twitter is asking, where's my headscarf? Sister Ann has one. I am not a Catholic sister. I'm Catholic, not a Catholic sister. And Carol saying choir kind of doesn't work the same way via Zoom. But I guess that's the challenge to overcome. Although I will say that Lin-Manuel Miranda got the cast of Hamilton together to do a Zoom performance for a child who wasn't able to go because of the pandemic. And that was really powerful.
Oh, I love
Even
those. Yeah.
Everybody in their individual windows and stuff, when it all came together, it was really something.
Yeah.
John Harrison is asking what media inspires you. He made the question intentionally vague so you can interpret media any way you like.
Yeah, well, that kind of depends. Like, I've been posting on Twitter now lately the kind of feel good things, because I need that. We've been closed up here in our community. We're kind of our own little city on a hill, literally. The Superior has all the car keys, so we can't get out. And so I've been posting darling babies, people doing good things for other people, just heartwarming kinds of things, because I need to see that. Just people doing the simple, ordinary acts of goodness, because I think they need more play. With the kind of big media are playing up too much of the negativity, and life is depressing enough in a pandemic. I need to see the goodness. I need to see the joy. I need to see people reaching out, and I want to share that. So that's the kind of media that is inspiring me right now. When I see people doing that, I give thanks to God. I say, God, glory to you for helping people to see the need of that other person, or helping these people to see another person in another person, and to go out of themselves in that way. And help me to do it, not to be wrapped up in myself, because it can be easy to kind of close in.
Of course, because we're all sort of stuck in our homes, and your becomes your world, and so all your problems become amplified. I think it's natural, but you're so right. It's so important. Fazia Burke is here. She says, "Amen, sister."
Hey.
And Carol says, nothing more moving than random acts of kindness. And Michelle, joining us from YouTube, says, "We need more light." I couldn't agree more.
Well, you answered one of my questions with the answer to John's, which was, what do you do now? We're in this moment, and everyone thinks that their time in history was unprecedented. Turns out the Dark Ages was worse, just in general. It was a little grosser back then. So even though it seems like the end of days, it's not, and we have to keep going. And so part of it was share really good and loving and meaningful things. Do you have, so people who have gardens, so one of their favorite seasons in the world is sort of December, January, as the snow's falling and they get that first seed catalog, because they start thinking about what they're going to put in their garden. What's in Sister Anne Flanagan's garden for once the smoke clears a little bit and you can get back to doing it exactly the way you want to do it next?
Oh, well, that, exactly the way I want to do it isn't kind of part of my life, because a lot of my life is about being open to what happens. I would say in the ideal world, wow, our choir meets 3 times a year. We do things throughout the year, and we have all kinds of musical events that we're able to carry out. And our community choir here at the Mother House sings humongous Renaissance polyphonic pieces, I think a little bit more live music for me, a little bit more choral music, even in community, because even though our work is right here, and which is not really a good thing, because we live and work in the same space, and that can really feed workaholism. It can be really tricky to even maintain like a community choir, and because we've got, and I have multiple deadlines for many things, and I guess part of it is setting priorities and saying, in some way, this has to become a bit of a priority. I'd like it to be a priority for other people too, and
Sure.
that's the challenge. Is I can't make that happen. So
sometimes maybe it feels a little bit like pushing rope. You're trying really hard to get some traction going, and you're like, oh, this isn't the way rope works. Yeah, that's true.
But I could learn how to listen to what are the musical preferences of the others, and like, okay, let's let's
Deb
collaborate.
points out that we kind of create our universe by clicking on negative stories. So if we want to see
Mhm.
more positivity, we have to choose positivity.
And
And I
make
agree
it.
with that. And John Harrison says, loving your neighbor requires creativity when we're all closed off to ourselves. So that's definitely true.
Right.
Sister Ann, if you can stick around, we're going to bring you back at the end for a really quick panel. And like I said, that backpack question that we told you
Okay.
about. Thank you so very much for being part of this. It's been so fun. Stick with us if you can. Sister Ann Flanagan
You're
and
watching the
Daughters of St. Paul.
Backpack Show
We
live,
are
where we bring you
live.
insights from unusual places and things you need in your backpack to succeed over the next 5 years. Sister Ann Flanagan, wow.
We have a couple sponsors. We have to give them our love. We are sponsored by StreamYard. You could go to cbrogan.me/StreamYard to make your own show. This is a fun little app. It's everything. Carrie brought this to me at the very beginning and just said, try it. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. And then
You were really curmudgeon-y about it too.
I didn't want to do it. I don't want to learn
No.
something new, but it's so easy. It's like that Staples easy button. We're also sponsored by PubSite. Are you an author? Are you just about to be an author? Have you been an author, but you just don't have the stuff you need?
This is
the site for you. Do you have a book?
If you need a website for yourself as an author or for a book, and you just can't figure out where to start, pub-site.com makes it really, really easy. And if you absolutely don't want to deal with it at all, even though it's easy, they have people who can do it for you. So get a 14-day free trial at pub-site.com. They make it crazy easy to have an author website. It's specifically made for books and authors. And the people behind it are the best book publicity firm there is. So they know what they're doing. Yeah.
In the world. Hey, look at this. StreamYard's awesome. We just purchased it. And I know that because they did it through my affiliate link. Pitching. By the way, PubSite also sponsors Person of the Day. We'll get back to that when we crown our Person of the Day. Crown our Person of the Day. Now we're going to bring in Tressa Smiley. We had a little tech error earlier. We're through it. I think we made it through the wilderness. Somehow we made it through. You know where I'm going. I didn't know how lost I was until I found Tressa Smiley.
Sooner or later, we work song lyrics into this. So Tressa is all about positivity. The happiness expert, host of the VIP talk show live. Talk to us, Tressa. How do you treat everybody like a VIP, and how does that affect their positivity?
Well, first of all, you got to remember VIP stands for very important person. But before I go into celebrating how I celebrate everyone else, I want to celebrate you two and thank you from the bottom of my heart for allowing me to come and share my platform on your platform. So it's awesome. Thank you so much. What you're doing is incredible because you're getting the message out. We are all facing some uncertain times right now, and we need these boosters. We need shows that are going to be relevant, that are going to stick to us and give us messages so that we can figure out what our next move is going to be when that opportunity presents itself. So I salute you both and thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for joining. So my Smiley, pleasure. I have to ask, Smiley is your real name or like what came first? The happiness expert?
Carrie, I get that so much. The thing about it is my last name, I was born Tressa Denise Smiley. I tell you the truth. That is my my actual maiden name. And basically I have this ability, I've always had this upbeat attitude where all I do is just come and I just bring my smile, because if I didn't, then I kind of will put my name to shame. So the smiley is something that I've always been able to embody since I was a little girl. I had to learn very early that if I'm somewhere and I couldn't smile, I probably don't need to stay there very long. So as a result, if I'm somewhere and I can let my light shine, then what that does, it gives you permission to shine your light, and it gives other people permission to shine their light. And then before you know it, everybody's elevation, their spirit has raised. We're all feeling in a good mood, regardless of what's going on around us. It's really how we are managing it on the inside. So if I can just maintain my happiness, and that's how I've become this happy expert, because people wonder, well, how can you stay so happy? And my thing is, how could you not? I mean, if happiness is going to lift your spirits, make you age gracefully, boost your immune system, then why not give it a try? Because at the end of the day, it's really like right up under your nose. So use it. That's all you have to do.
On the Backpack Show, we like to invite in the community with their comments and questions. Fazia says, welcome, Tressa. Carol says, it's the power of suggestion. So having to say smiley all your life makes you smiley. Michelle
does.
says the name matches the persona. And Kara says
Oh.
nominative determinism.
So that term comes, well, there's a science around it, but the first time I read about that term was in the book Freakonomics. And there was a whole chapter on the fact that if you're named something like Justice, it turns out you are very likely to want to go into the prison system or the law system or whatever.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So your name in a lot of ways determines, and your first
Your
name.
name just mean a thing. I don't
See, look at these beautiful smiles. Look at you, Carrie. I saw that. I saw it. I caught it.
Not
I
a
see you
thing.
too.
I was
Chris, I
just
got
talking
you
about
too.
this. No. My mom wanted to name me Scarlett, and my maiden name is O'Shea. So I would have been Scarlett O'Shea. But lucky for me, my mom was asleep when they came around with the birth certificate. So my dad named me Carrie Lee. So that's what I am. And it doesn't mean a thing. But that just meant I could choose whatever I wanted. So.
Yeah, definitely. Uh-oh.
So the thing's showing up on top. Yeah. Tressa, you've built this for yourself. You've built quite a project, and it started, somewhere. And it started from, there had to be some times at the very beginning where you're like, this is the dumbest thing I ever could have done. Like, can you talk a little bit? Because we have Coach Scott Woodard is here, and he always asks that question. Where did you're here now, but we started at the bottom. What happened? How did you start it right up?
Well, what I started doing is paying attention to what made me unique. Where was I giving my attention, and who was I giving my attention to? That maybe 10 years ago.
Wow.
I've always been it's been a climb. It's been a journey. And the thing about it is, it's a journey of love. So I never have a bad situation. I never have a bad day. I won't allow myself to just go there. I'm constantly reevaluating what I'm bringing in and what's leaving. So when something comes into my space, it's in my moment, then I can love on it. So I've always been this way. And I think about 2009, I decided that, okay, people would say, okay, you always have this gift. You always want to encourage people and inspire people. I've served on board of directors where I would actually go into the schools and I would just do a lot of speaking engagements. I always wanted to encourage my friends. I always wanted to support anybody. And it was just so effortless for me. So Oprah Winfrey sent out a casting call years ago, I think about 7 years ago, and she was looking for the next big host. And then everybody that knew me, they were like, okay, Tressa, this is your time, this is your time, this is your moment. And I'm like, okay, what are you talking about? I never really thought the platform would get this huge, but I'm so grateful that I trust my truth. And I relocated to California. I am giving a shout out from Los Angeles, California. I love it here, and I've been really well received out here simply because I'm authentic. When I show up, I'm not trying to be something that I am not. The authenticity, I bring the love, I bring the light, I bring the hope, and most importantly, I bring the smiles. So I basically read as much material as I can get my hands on. Not necessarily knowing the protocol, the Hollywood protocol, but I knew enough to know that I know the difference between something that's going to have potential and then something that's just, there's no potential to develop and grow. And taking that potential that I always had, and that's what I would say that was really the big ticket for me, is just understanding about what it was that I was able to bring to the table. So there was never a win-lose situation. It was always win-win for me. And then taking what I knew in my past and then just marrying the two, connecting with other individuals in the entertainment industry that has shared values like myself, I'm able to build this platform called VIP Live. And that is an inspirational, motivational, and empowerment platform. No matter who you are, where you're from, we're here to tell you that you can do anything that you put your mind to. And I'm not just talking the talk, I am walking the walk. Anyone that knows me, they know that they can come to me. If you can reach me, because my circle's got really small now, I have to manage the activity as far as the input, because the energy level, I've learned that energy is really
what in LA? Negative energy?
You have
Are you
to
kidding?
preserve. So when you come out here, you gotta hook me up, and I introduce you to my world and show you how you literally spend. Yeah, you have to manage it so that you're not wasting and spinning your wheels. So I'd rather just be productive instead of just being busy all the time. So when I was able to connect with a few individuals that had the same shared values, we would come together and then we just collaborate just based off of that authenticity and that trust, because they're looking for the same thing. So at that point, that gave me the opportunity where I didn't have to walk by myself. Then other people that shared those same values and those common goals, because remember, love is for everyone. It's not just for a selective group. It's for everyone.
That's actually my favorite thing about this. Look at everybody having a conversation in the comments here.
I see one of my friends.
Jane says she should be a realtor. Chris hugs Brogan. Your mom agrees with that name, Chris. No, Deb says her first name means queen bee, so maybe she'll end up being a queen. Megan says beautiful inside and out.
Megan, that's my people.
Scott says trust your truth. That's a start for a great journey, and having confidence in yourself, says Deb. So so these are our people, and they come and they contribute to the show every day, and it is amazing, and we so appreciate them here on the Backpack Show.
So talk about your show, speaking of. So talk about what it's like to put together your show, how it works, who goes on, what's the story there?
Well, the story behind it, remember, the VIP stands for a very important person. So no matter who you are, we've created a positive platform. So not everyone is looking to be positive. That's something that I had to learn at a very early stage. So right off the bat, I started I'm a great researcher. I started utilizing the tools that I had. And I love to study. So I put all of that into the entertainment industry, which you got to give it your all. You cannot relocate or even consider coming to California unless you're going to give it your all, because, they don't do that slacking, that lackadaisical stuff. That just, if that's lazy has been your issue, work around that and then figure out before you start making any major moves. But the platform basically came because I would get invited to go to these big events where I would do a lot of red carpet events with celebrities, and we would just want to know what encouraged you. How did you get to this moment? Who inspired you? How did you have a lot of self-doubt? And I know, Chris, you asked me earlier, did I have any hurdles as far as like that dialogue? I had to turn that dialogue off. My dialogue is on. So when I show up, I show up. So when you see me, you see everything. You see what my parents have instilled in me. You see what my journey, my grandparents, my ancestors, you see that smile that I was granted with from birth. So with that being said, one thing just led to another. We started covering lifestyle. We started covering a little cooking. Now, those of you that know me, I don't cook. So that's something that I need some tips on. So if anybody can send me some tips, even though that's one of our segments, that's something that I'm definitely working on and improving. But where my strengths are is basically just inspiring and covering a lot of red events. And then that's gotten me the doors that have opened to other doors. I've done a few.
I hate that. I want doors to open into rooms or other places, not other doors. It's so frustrating, Tressa.
They will, Carrie. They will. You just have to be patient with yourself. I mean, you can't get more than what you're ready for. So once you get ready for that opportunity, then you expect it. I like on every email thread that I pretty much start, I like to start with just the first sentence that you read, expect to win. So I really don't collaborate with individuals that don't believe in themselves and they don't expect much, because I don't want to preach to you about what you're supposed to do. That's one thing that separates, the serious individuals from the people that are still contemplating or still haven't gotten to that point. And then once you start getting around other believers, you become a stronger believer as well.
I think Sister Ann would say the same.
Yeah, definitely. That's why I'm so glad that you guys joined us together. I've always wanted to know a nun. I've been asking God to send me a phenomenal nun, and this opportunity presented itself. And yesterday, I was so excited. I really was, just to be on the same platform with her, because she is amazing. She really is in what she's doing.
Deb
Well-
says today's soundbite is love is for everyone, and Jack Vincent took away you can't get more than you're ready for.
So listen,
I'm ready
it's
for more
perfect.
Sister Ann.
It's perfect timing. 'Cause I'm bringing Sister Ann back out. So there you go. God gave you a nun.
Well, you know what?
Well,
I
give
I have been-
everyone Ann,
And
Sister
I
Ann.
cook too.
Did you just say a cook too?
I cook too. She says she
Well,
doesn't
see,
cook, but I
you-
cook.
the timing, the timing. And another thing, before I took this big leap of faith to relocate to California, I asked God for perfect timing, because I know it's not going to be in my will, and I don't know all. There's no way that I can process all of the information, because He is the great I am. I understand that. So I just want to play my role. And if I always pray for perfect timing, then I'm always ready for that moment, Carrie. So then just include that timing, and you'll start seeing how the doors, you'll be like, wow.
Oh, I just bungle around, Tressa. I don't know what happens. I only ever do the one next right thing. That's just what I set out to
And
do.
that's,
So.
and that's cool, because that works too. That way you stay in focus.
All right. So, sister, I have a question. When you just said you cook, so people can cook. I mean, I cook. Do you cook for the sisters and nuns there? Do you cook for the
Sometimes.
masses? Oh
I
my
cook for
golly,
the
what is that like?
community.
And
It's
for
like
how many?
80 people.
80.
Yeah.
So what are you
80?
making for 80 people? I'm gonna guess it's not toast. Like, what
Well,
are you making for 80 people?
You know the Food Network show Chopped?
Yes.
It kind of we actually depend a lot on donated stuff. So food that's about to expire, the ends of things at the market. So it's like whatever shows up in the refrigerator, it's like, can you make a meal out of this in 2 hours?
Wow.
For
Yeah.
80 people?
Yeah.
So you operate in the chopped. So what does that end up being? Because I gotta find a little clip of a video for you, because it's funny you say that way. I hadn't thought about it. But what does that end up being?
We need
mostly?
Chopped with nuns. That's the show. Tressa, pitch
Let's
it in
do
LA.
We're
It's a
ready.
winner.
We're doing it.
Well,
You thought I was
Because
going
who
to
do you
do
root for?
it.
Who do you root
I
for?
said
They're
I'm
all
from
nuns.
New
You
Orleans,
can't not
so
root for
let
one
me
of them.
just say that. That expands my repertoire a little bit. So sometimes I just do a kind of version of jambalaya, but I just do whatever the ingredients we have on hand seem to offer the possibility of.
You're in Boston right now too, so Chris,
Yeah.
could put out the word. Boston friends, donate some really interesting
Bring some good
ingredients.
food.
I don't
Yeah.
want too many interesting ingredients. There's things I really don't know what to do with. I've had to go online. It's like, what is this? And
So what do you want? Like, what's the thing when people donate it? You're like, yes, this is what I needed.
oh well, the things that I get excited about, some of the sisters turn their noses up at. So I have to be careful with that. So we do occasionally get really odd donations because
Oh,
it's
I can imagine.
really weird things that.
Like a case of creamed corn or something.
Well, that would not be an odd donation for us. That would be something rather normal.
That's Wednesday.
Yeah, that would like three cases of brie that is overripe.
Oh.
Jeez.
Yeah, like really weird kinds of imported things that are expiring tomorrow.
I'm going to show you a really quick clip of a video, because when you said that about, we received the donations and all that, I had watched, there's this sort of food adventure guy who goes on these food travels. And like you said, you're a bit of a foodie, so you're going to appreciate this for what this guy is. He went to hang out in Myanmar with some monks, and they were pointing out the fact that it's all about donations. So these people come and they donate, of course, as part of their goals to be holy and to be helpful. And, people get their prayers from the monks and all that. And so then they have to transfer that and translate that into food. And so a lot of it becomes, like you were saying, like a jambalaya and that sort of a thing. So as you were saying this, I thought, I just vividly saw this a few months ago, just in a very different setting with a
No,
slightly
Chris,
different religion.
it's all coming together now.
Different
We can have
spices,
chopped.
you know?
We can have chopped with nuns versus
Look at you.
the monk. It'd be nuns
Producer.
versus monks.
And
We've got
Tressa
this
needed
show.
I
Tressa
see a
needed a
reality
nun.
show coming.
Some of y'all could come in and help chop the vegetables.
And Kara from Scotland says haggis.
We're not having to try that. It's on my to-do list. You know?
Haggis? Oh no,
Why
take that off
not?
your to-do list.
Okay,
I'm a risk taker.
I mean, you know,
beautiful thing.
maybe once.
Once, you know,
When in Scotland,
right.
you know, as they
I've
say.
never been there. It's there's a few places that are on Jesus's to-do list. Let's see how we manage it.
I think that's a good one too. So we're at the point in the show. We have a couple things you're going to do, and then I'm going to ask you both a question. So I'm going to ask you the question ahead of time, so you get a few minutes to think. We're all living on kind of shaky ground right now. You know, there's no solid foundation. Everything's a little crazy. Nothing's really set in stone, as it can't be. So we have to think about where and how are we going to operate in the next 3 to 5 years. So I ask the question all the time on the show, what goes in your backpack? And that means metaphorically, it can mean things like hope. It can mean things like a vision. It can mean things like, you know, removing something like doubt. As Carrie likes to point out, we sometimes get actual physical items into the backpack. Our favorites an avocado. That's the best one. And then what was it? We just got one the other day, wasn't it? Was it a compass? No, what was, we just had one 2 days ago. Then.
A book. Didn't
A
somebody
book?
want us
Yeah.
to bring a book? Yep.
Good. So you can always bring a
Oh,
good
a lot of
book.
books. Oh, bourbon. Jason Falls
Bourbon.
yesterday
Jason
said
Falls,
bourbon. And not just like one bottle. I'm sorry, Sister Ann. Not just one bottle of bourbon, like a lot of bourbon. And I was thinking he's going to be dragging this backpack through the wilderness with like clinking glass in it. He's never getting anywhere.
He's going to get attacked. So I'm going to remind us one more time we get sponsors. cbrogan.me/StreamYard. Make your own awesome show. And authors, pub-site.com. Get your book done by the best people who
Your
ever
book
promoted
website.
a
You
book.
have to write the book.
You have to write the book. Get your book website done. I don't know, words. 14-day free trial at pub-site.com. All right. So I'm going to start with, was it Churchill who said we make a living by what we take, we make a life by what we give?
Risk-taking nuns. Apparently it's a very popular concept on YouTube. Kara's trying to sell us on haggis.
Haggis is
Luck with
swell.
that. No. Positivity, smiles, and food wraps up today's backpack, says Deb.
There you go.
Kara wants haggis in our backpacks. I have like a million things I would put in the backpack before haggis. So it'd be pretty hard up.
Sister Ann, what goes in our backpack?
You know, I've got two things that I'm weighing, and I guess they kind of go together. So I'm going to say them both, and we can decide which one should really go in. The first thing that came to my mind was a pause button, because I find that I need to hit that kind of often, and it's like, yeah, you know, I need a pause button. So I would, you know, but then I said, going into the next 5 years, and as we're dreaming of a new normal, or you know, getting back to normal, but we know it's going to be a new normal, and I think we need to be alert for false non-negotiables. So we need a kind of a filter for false non-negotiables. So some kind of a philosophical filter, if you will, so that we don't put anything into our new normal, or we don't make requirements of the new normal that aren't really necessary. That we don't create non-negotiables of things that really can be put to the side.
That sounds like critical thinking. Like we need critical thinking in the backpack.
Well, it would come into that, but it's a little almost like there's things that we insist on that have to be part of our normal, and don't put them in the backpack yet. Because
There's a bunch of stuff that we don't need back in the backpack. Think about all the stuff we've already left behind since this all started, and that we thought we couldn't live without. We've been dragging them along for years, like bourbon in a backpack.
So this very brief question with a very brief answer. Yes, pause button, non-negotiable. Look at this.
Okay.
Pause button, press 2. Yes, pause. Everybody totally agrees. Sister
Okay,
Ann,
the pause button it is. Okay.
Everyone loves what Sister Ann is saying. Sister Ann for
love it.
CEO.
they're loving it. All right, Tressa, I don't have a pause button for you, and I definitely can't have a filter for what's non-negotiable, but I totally love that premise. What do you got for us? What goes in the backpack?
Okay, how many options do I have? Is it down to one?
One.
2,
You got to put one
3?
thing in.
Okay, if I have to put one thing, I'm going to put my God-given birthright, which is my smile, because a smile is universal. I can take my smile, and I've traveled to other countries, not knowing no one or the language, but the smile is where I was greeted, and the smile is where I was welcome. And if I smile, you smile. So basically, that's kind of like my safe haven. And if I can go somewhere and you can smile, that just conveys to me that you're okay. At least from the the outward. So if I can communicate basically just based on a smile, and that's all I have left, that's all I need.
In your travels, Tressa, did you eat the haggis?
No. I've been
No. Okay. That's what we ask the hard-hitting questions.
Indeed. We've been around the world, don't speak the language.
No.
That's my song lyric.
Everyone,
sticking.
you have to go and follow Nun Blogger on Twitter for inspiration. And if there's any way you can help with their Christmas concert online concept, please help the Daughters of St. Paul Choir. It would mean so much to all of us. And definitely check out VIP Live Talk Show on Twitter and TressaSmiley.com if you want positivity in your life. And really, who couldn't use some right now? It's been a rough couple of months.
It's been a rough couple 2020s.
It's been a rough couple of 2020s. It's
right,
been 84 years.
We didn't get to really do as much setup as we normally do in the way the show works. So I need to point out one thing that I always like to end the show on, which is a little bit of wisdom, maybe something my grandmother said, something else. So you really have to understand that it's really hard to sneak Ave Maria, by the way, into regular conversation.
It is. I've tried.
Turns out the lyrics for Ave Maria are in German originally, so that's not going to really work out so well. So, and ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch, but I really can't do it. But I'll tell you, who could really not speak German?